as a part of digital education initiative by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University. Here is the next lecture from the subject VLSI technology having subject code KEC 053, and I am your faculty Sangeeta Mangesh from the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida. The topic for the lecture is thin film deposition, and it is the continuation of the previous lecture where we have seen the physical layering of the film or the techniques wherein you were physically depositing the film for different applications. The contents for this lecture include the next part, that is a chemical vapor deposition technique and the characteristics of the deposited film. At the end of this lecture, as a student, I expect you that you should be able to discuss different techniques of chemical vapor deposition along with the specific features of these individual techniques and their application areas, their plus and minus points. You should be able to elaborately or explain them or comprehend those particular techniques which have been used in thin film deposition. Now, prior to this lecture, like prior to this particular topic, we have seen, or since we are in continuation studying this particular topic, we have in the previous lecture I have given you the idea for what are the different types of films are and how they are getting, like what is the need for depositing these films as far as your IC integrated circuit design is concerned. And we have also seen the two typical physical deposition techniques, or where you are depositing the layer physically onto the wafer substrate, and those techniques were physical vapor deposition and sputtering. Now, here we are going to see the technique where you are having some chemical reaction involved into it, and this is known as chemical vapor deposition. Now, here it is a technique where the chemical reaction transforms the gaseous molecules called precursor into solid material in the form of thin film or powder onto the wafer surface. The constituents of vapor phase are often diluted with the inert carrier gas, and this gas reacts on the host surface, and resultant is the deposition of the thin film onto the wafer surface. The films are either formed by heterogeneous reaction occurring at the closed or the heated surface, or homogeneous reactions occurring into the gaseous phase between the material and the. So, homogeneous means there will be like heterogeneous reactions or homogeneous reaction happening, and the resultant or the consequence of it is the film deposition. The resultant stoichiometrics will be correct film deposition for very thin silicon, copper or low dielectric insulators. This particular chemistry of either heterogeneous reaction or homogeneous reaction will result into high stoichiometry, like you have stoichiometric corrected film, like exact precise film getting deposited in a very thin form of very thin thickness, that is in few micrometers or less than micrometer, also in a few hundred nanometers you can say, for silicon, copper or low dielectric insulators. Now, what is this? How this particular thing is happening? Now, you are making, now there are different what you call things which are happening in this particular chemical reaction, and that is being depicted over here. Now, first there is diffusion of reactant species onto the surface. There is subsequent reaction onto the surface, and this reaction is resulting into film forming. Once the film is formed, whatever is the byproduct or whatever is the outcome of this, like once the layer is getting formed, the film is getting formed, the residual species or the byproducts which are produced, they are to be eliminated or to be driven away from the surface, otherwise they can contaminate the wafer or they can create some additional impact which is negative impact onto the surface. So, this is what is the process overall happening in case of chemical vapor deposition. So, again I will repeat, you have species coming onto the wafer, these are the reacting species coming onto the wafer. There is a diffusion of these species happening, or there is a deposition, a chemical reaction happening over here, wherein the species are getting deposited as a result of the chemical reaction, and once the species are deposited, the excess of the material which is allowed to flow has to be eliminated or dislodged, or like it should be driven away, to be precise, it should be driven away from the surface, so that further degradation or further deterioration of the surface should be prevented. So, you need to so disruption and diffusion of the products from, like you need to what you call drive away, basically diffusion say you have to say drive away the products from the wafer surface. You need to drive away those products from the wafer surface. Now, what is this rate at which it is happening? Now, this is basically A exponential minus q EA upon KT. Now, what is this? It is basically R is the deposition rate, the rate at which the species are getting deposited. And what are the factors on which it is dependent? It is the frequency factor Q, frequency factor A, sorry, Q is the electronic charge, Q, A is the frequency factor, Q is the electronic charge, EA is the activation energy with which those species are appearing, K is the Boltzmann constant, and T is the temperature. Now, here you will get to know that the energy with which, or the activation energy with which those species are arriving, the temperature, the frequency factor with which they are appearing, all these things play important role as far as your film deposition is concerned. Please understand, in this case your rate or deposition rate will depend upon the frequency with which they are arriving, or the frequency factor, then the rate at which the rate at which the activation energy and the temperature. So, these are the predominantly like factors that are to be looked after or to be taken care of, so as to have exact or precise deposition of the film over the substrate. Same thing is being explained over here. So, first process I told you, it is known as mass transport of the reactant. So, where this reacting species along with the dilutant agents, that is inert agents, they are diluted with the inert gas and they are allowed to flow onto the into bulk gases are allowed to flow into the reactor and allowed to reach to the deposition zone. The gas phase reactions lead to film precursors and thereby byproducts are being formed. The mass transport of the film, precursor and the reactants go to the growth surface, resultant they produce the surface growth onto the surface. Adsorption of the film precursors and the reaction onto the growth surface, it will adsorb, adsorption means basically it will get deposited, it will adsorb onto the surface precursor, and that is why you will have growth on the surface. The surface reaction of atoms, this is basically atoms, surface reactions of the atoms occurring selectively onto the heated surface. So, whatever added atoms are, they will react with the surface material and there will be selective growth of the layer or film onto the heated surface. The surface migration of the film formers to the growth sites, incorporation of the film constituents into the growing film. Now, please understand what does that mean. Initially you are transporting the species onto these are the diluted species, they will flow onto the surface into the bulk gas flow region, from the reactor inlet into the deposition zone. Now, once they arrive, the gas phase reactants lead into film precursor and byproducts. So, film precursor means the species which are going to react with the surface. The mass transport of the film cursor and the reactant will reach, you will have to transport it onto the growth surface. There will be adsorption of the film cursor, precursor will get adsorbed and the reactants will result into growth, film growth onto the surface. Surface migration of film formers to the growth sites, automatically wherever that chemical reaction will happen, there that growth will happen. incorporation of the film constituents into the growing film. So, those will automatically, okay, these will reside onto the sites. Okay. Here the reaction will happen, they will reside onto the site, reaction will happen, they will reside on, they will get incorporated into those sites wherever the reaction will happen, and thereby, okay, that will result into formation of, okay, that will result into formation of sites. So, this is how your process will start. Now, deabsorption of byproducts. Now, whatever byproducts are, those byproducts are to be properly utilized, those byproducts are to be used, and those byproducts are to be, like, they are to be driven away basically. These byproducts can be dangerous, and if you do not use these byproducts, you should be able to drive away those byproducts, and you should prevent the further surface reaction. Mass transport of the byproducts in the bulk gas flow region away from the deposited zone towards the reactor exits. So, once the deposited sites are clear, the byproducts are to be essentially driven away, so that there is no further reaction into the chamber. Now, such chemical vapor deposition techniques are categorized into 3 different domains depending upon the pressure which is being used. First is atmospheric pressure chemical vapor deposition, second is low pressure chemical vapor deposition or LPCVD, and third one is known as plasma enhanced chemical vapor deposition, which is PECVD. Now, what is basically the difference? The low pressure deposition process has a benefit of uniform step coverage and precise control. What control? It is basically the layer which is getting deposited that can be controlled, because you are having low temperature process, good stoichiometrics can be, like, good profiles can be obtained, the crystal orientations can be controlled, and it is a low pressure process. Since, okay, furthermore, no carrier gases are required in case of low pressure chemical vapor deposition, and therefore, you can restrict the contamination. Now, what is the equipment which is being used for this particular technique? The equipment is basically using a chamber. Here I will show you. Here you are having a horizontal furnace where the wafers are kept onto the, okay, you have a boat or you have a wafer carrier on which wafers are being kept. You have a vacuum tube, a vacuum pump which is ensuring the pressure, like controlling the pressure, ensuring the pressure conditions. You have a trap and the exhaust for driving away the residues. You have 3 zone resistance heated furnace. Basically, you can have resistive heating or you can have RF heating, or there are different techniques of heating also. Normally, RF is heated preferred, because RF heating will not heat the chamber will be cool, and there will be less deposition of the gases onto the chamber wall. So, these are different techniques which have been over a period of time evolved, and that is how being used. So, you have this end cap and you have gas control system. So, how this particular method works? Now, I told you already, the method is used to heat the wafers. You can have resistive heating or RF heating or inductive heating by energy from the glow discharge plasma or energy from the photon heating. The pressure regime of the operation, depending upon it is LPCVD, APCVD, that is atmospheric pressure, or reduced pressure technique, the pressure will be controlled. The reduced pressure group can be further split into low pressure CVD reactors, in which the energy is entirely thermal as well as plasma enhanced. You can have both combination of these 2 things also. Now, this is what is the reactor which is known as LPCVD, wherein again I told you there is, okay, you have a pressure sensor, you have low pressure operation. Now, low pressure means you can have the operation happening at a very much lower temperature, thereby protecting the integrity or the properties of the underlying layers or underlying material onto the wafer surface. You have if they here, like if you have some active species in the underlying layer, they can get energized or they can have some negative impact or adverse impact if you are heating the wafer during the process. So, you don't want that to happen. So, under such situation you can go for the low pressure PVD. so that you can have a technique which is happening at much lower temperature and vacuumized condition. So, layer deposition also, but you have to pay the cost of low deposition rate. So, here you are having plasma assisted one and this is the normal PVD. Here plasma assisted means you have a plasma, okay. Plasma is basically RF glow discharge and your material is like wafers are kept over here. You have a precursor which is rotating susceptor is there. You will allow the material which is to be deposited in the form of vacuum into the this one what you call chamber, and with radio frequency power input the plasma like energies particles will be allowed to get deposited. It will be in the form of plasma, they will be deposited onto the anode and you will be having the wafers placed onto the anode on which the plasma like high energy particles will deposit drive or will enforce the reactive species which are to be deposited, or the species which are like target species, like your target is your wafer and the species which you want to deposit. Okay. The species, suppose I want to have copper, or if you want to have some material which is to be deposited. So, those species will be allowed to flow inside the chamber and you will have this rotating susceptor where you are to ensure the uniformity in the deposition process. So, you have large capacity of wafers, or large amount of like batch processing can be done, wherein you have the this particular heater, you have wafers lying here, your wafers are here, this is the wafer 1, wafer 2, wafer 3, wafer 4, your wafers are lying over here, these are the electrodes, and under the plasma you are able to carry out the reaction. This is the plasma assisted. Here there is another method also which is improvised version of it, where you are having rapid thermal chemical reaction or RTCVD. It is suitable for single water cluster tool technology, basically wafer cluster tool technology. You have basically single wafers you can have, and high temperature and shorter duration, thick films can be deposited and the deposition rate can be typically 100 nanometer per second. Now, here you are basically heating the wafer surface. So, single wafer if you are using, or if you are making deposition onto a single wafer, you can have like it is basically for specific applications where you need thin film of very good quality or precise quality you want to have. So, low deposition rate, as low as you can have 100 nanometers, 100 nanometer per second. So, very short duration you will make use of like elevate the temperature, allow the film to get deposited, and you can have precise control onto the thickness of the film. So, here are the techniques we have seen, that is chemical vapor deposition techniques, wherein you are using atmospheric pressure, low pressure and plasma enhanced. Now, please understand, as the pressure is reduced, your temperature is also getting reduced. Now, atmospheric pressure process needs approximately 700 to 800 degrees centigrade temperature to be elevated, whereas LPCVD can be performed as low as at like less than around 500 degrees centigrade also it can happen. Similarly, plasma enhanced will be further reduced temperature. So, here you are having the advantage of temperature over here. So, if you do not want the process temperature to get raised, then you should go for plasma enhanced technique. If you can have, or if you can afford to go for high elevated temperature, it is simple film deposition, you do not have to bother about the electrical properties of the underlying films or underlying layers, then you can go for atmospheric. So, as you go down, the cost will increase. Here the typical technique of polycrystalline or polysilicon is being used under APCVD. Polysilicon, silicon nitride are normally deposited using LPCVD, whereas silicon nitride, silicon dioxide or amorphous silicon, if you want the high quality films, if you want layers to be very thin, and if you want the underlying properties to be prevented or protected, then properly protected, then you go for plasma assisted or plasma enhanced chemical vapor deposition. Now, in all these processes you have very important thing, that is flammable and expansive corrosive gases, like it is a chemical vapor deposition. So, chemical reaction byproduct will be always a poisonous, dangerous it can have pyrophoric properties, it can be flammable, it can be explosive, and therefore, when you are driving away those byproducts, you have to be very, very careful. Just like your chemical etching, when we saw disposing those material is a big issue, here also while depositing, while handling chemicals, the byproducts which are getting produced as an outcome of that film deposition are also equally poisonous, corrosive, dangerous, and when these combination of gases are to be released, of course, first you have to drive them from the furnace and then in turn they have to be released or they have to be disposed. So, that is to be done very cautiously. The gas combinations such as silane with halogens and silane with hydrogen and oxygen with hydrogen will cause safety concerns. In addition, silane reacts with air to form solid products, causing particle contaminations in the gas lines. The particles can plunge into the pipes and perhaps create combustion. It can create combustion, the reaction can be combustive and that can create problems. So, here are the typical what you call byproducts which are getting produced as an outcome of chemical vapor deposition. One is ammonia and its toxicity is 25 ppm, limiting toxicity, and you get normally flammable exposure is 16 to 25% volumes. You have argon, it is inert, it does not have any, but you have arsine getting produced which is toxic, diborane which is again toxic, dichlorosilane which is again toxic, flammable, and toxicity is ppm, particle per million, it is 5 highest, ammonia particle per million highest. So, toxicity heavily toxic, like highly toxic materials are available over here. You have phosphine which is also toxic, then silane which is also toxic, pyrophoric also. So, you have to be very, very careful while handling these materials, while handling these byproducts, and therefore, here is a word of caution. You have to keep in mind that environmental friendly, like you have to be all the processes to be environmental friendly, sustainable, and therefore, you have to ensure that such processes are to be discouraged where such byproducts are getting created, and if you are using such processes, you have to ensure that the byproducts are processed properly before they are driven away or before they are getting disposed. Now, before we end, let us have the idea about the films and their deposition techniques. So, what are the typical films? Polycrystalline silicon or polysilicon is deposited by pyrolyzing silane between 575 degree centigrade to 650 degree centigrade in a low pressure reaction, LPCVD. The reaction is SiH4, that is silane decomposed or converted into Si and 2H2. Now, please understand here hydrogen as the gas. Amorphous silicon can be prepared by glow discharge decomposition of silane. Several decomposition methods are used to produce silicon dioxide films which can be deposited for lower than 500 degree centigrade by reacting with silane and dopant, that is phosphorus in this example, and oxygen under the reduced pressure atmospheric reaction, that is LPCVD. You can have SiH4 reacting with oxygen giving silicon dioxide and hydrogen. You have a phosphorus and hydrogen, this is PH3, 4PH3, that is phosphorus in this case, and silane dopant added. So, 4PH3 can be added, that is plus O5O2 can give you P2O5 and H2. Silicon dioxide can also be deposited at 650 to 750 in LPCVD, that is low pressure chemical vapor deposition reacting by pyrolyzing tetraethoxysilane, that is TEOS. This process is very, very important and maximum used. In this case, you have tetraethoxysilane getting converted into SiO2 and some byproducts. Using LPCVD also same reaction, that is silicon dioxide can be deposited between dichlorosilane and nitrous oxide, and this dichlorosilane and nitrous oxide will give you silicon dioxide and HCl. Now, the highlighting point is in all these cases you will find that there is a byproduct. Here you are having HCl, you are having hydrogen, here you are having hydrogen, here you are having hydrogen. So, all these byproducts are explosive in nature or they are to be dealt with caution. Another, like in continuation with that, you have silicide, that is metallic, okay, transition metal and silicon. When you want to co-deposit, you have deposition temperature of 900 to 1000 degrees and the time duration is only 10 to 30 minutes. Silicon nitride can be, okay, AP, atmospheric pressure chemical vapor deposition at 700 to 800 degrees centigrade, the reaction will be, okay, 3 SiH4 4 NH3 will give you silicon nitride and hydrogen. So, it can be reduced to dichlorosilane ammonia at 700 comparatively lower temperature and dichlorosilane plus ammonia reacting to give you silicon nitride and again hydrogen. Please understand, everywhere you are having hydrogen as well. Then you are having silane and ammonia getting reacted and you are going to get silicon nitride, like byproduct of silicon nitride you are going to get. Before we end, there is the last point of this particular lecture and that gives you the idea about the parameters or the film quality based on which you are deciding the film which is getting deposited. The performance of the film will be deposited on the stress factors which are associated. So, you should have minimum stress factor so that the film is reliable. You should have maximum purity and integrity. The grain size should be precise, uniform as desired, thickness should be precise as you want, uniformity should be there, it should provide proper step coverage. You know, the film can be have like this wafer surface may not be uniform, you may have some steps onto the wafer surface. So, your layering of the film should be uniform, it should get uniformly deposited on this entire steps which are available onto the wafer surface. It should provide good adhesivity, it should have good corrosion resistance. In many situations you call it as a conformal growth or conformal growth, which means throughout this trench the uniformity is maintained and the film is properly. So, for contacts such kind of films are very much recommended, whereas in many situations when you go for lift off, you want the film, like even if the film is not properly uniform or conformal growth is not there, you can go with it, do away with it. So, non-conformal or long mean, suppose the mean free path of the bombarding atom is not proper, then you have to ensure that the tilt angle, the rate at which it is getting deposited has to be proper, otherwise you will have such kind of results getting produced into the deposited film. So, let us summarize what we have studied. If you are able to comprehend with the schematic or with this all these CVD processes, if you can identify what are the safety measures associated with chemical vapor deposition processes, and if you can characterize, like list out the characterization what you call properties which decide the film quality, we can proceed further with the other technique of IC fabrication, that is diffusion. Thank you.